Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox, where we talk about all things Xbox from the original to the Series X, and today we're talking about Riptide GP Renegade, which is a boat, jet ski style racing game from the developer Vector Unit, the team that brings you the beach buggy games. I know, really exciting stuff, but they did make the Hydro Thunder Xbox Live Arcade game, which I think was a good bit of fun. This is actually the third entry into the Riptide franchise, but this is my first time playing any of these games. When I got this, I just really wanted a quick fix of racing fun, and I always find water racing games a good time. It's available on Xbox One, so that means it's backwards compatible for Series X, and it's also available on PC and a few other consoles. And you know what? When I picked this up, I actually had a good time with it. It's simple racing fun. If you have been following my channel for a little bit, you know I talk a lot about racing games. It's one of my favorite genres, and water racing games is always something that I find enjoyable. It adds this fun element to the mix. Not only do you have to fight against your opponents, you have to work against the water elements. Water moves very well and it allows for some fun jumps here in this game. I think the water physics are predictable at a certain point, so you can go with the flow, but sometimes it'll hit you and it'll scare you and it'll throw you off. And I really love how the water interacts with some of these tracks, where some are in more industrial areas, so there's a lot less movement and a lot less jumping off the water. But then there's some crazy post-apocalyptic areas that alone have some insane waves for you to jump off of. It makes it so you don't have to conform to really one play style. You get to pick what works with you and what works best with the track. And tracks are very well made with a good amount of detail. Just like in Hydro Thunder, there are a ton of secret passageways and shortcuts to discover. It adds a nice edge, and it's really enjoyable when you barely beat the competition by using one of these shortcuts. And this game is tough, and I mean late in this game you are going to be hit hard by some of these rivals. I really like the challenge though, because a lot of racers with upgrades like this, once you become overpowered, you can just annihilate the competition, but here it's going to be a constant struggle for tooth and nail. The upgrade system works well, but I found it was better to save a lot of your winnings and put them in the last jet skis that you unlock throughout the game. An element that I found a little lackluster though was the trick system. There's a lot of jumps in these levels, and you can hit your sticks in a certain way and get combos with them, and I just think it's a little boring. You have some fun tricks to use, but they're not interesting enough to keep me wanting to go back and do them. They can be imaginative at first, but once you're doing the same trick for the 100th time, it's just like seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And now, this game does have a mobile game feel to it, and that's because it is. Each level gives you a star rating, and the menus are really simple, but I do think it plays well on my controller. And the fact is that this game only costs about $10, so even though it looks a bit cheaper, $10 is a pretty good price to get a solid racing experience. And honestly, I got around 10 hours of game time out of this one, and I fully completed the achievement list. On my way to completing this achievement list, I did see some flaws in this game, such as there isn't a crazy amount of tracks to choose from, but the nice trade-off is there's multiple game modes, like one where you have to go around buoys, and one where you just do tricks, which is actually the hardest game mode in this game. Getting high scores with these tricks can be a pain sometimes, but they were rewarding whenever I finished it. So it has its issues, but I think it's at least a good time. So I think 10 hours for $10 for a fun racing experience is a pretty good payoff. And I'm not saying that it's a completely wowing game. It is a very simple racer with a simple upgrade system, but I think for its price, it's a solid little game. If it's ever on sale and you just want a really quick and easy hit of water racing fun, Riptide GP is a pretty good pick. Alright, and that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this short little review of Riptide GP, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content about other games on Xbox consoles. Also, leave a comment below if you've ever played this or if you're interested in it, or if you have any favorite water racing games. But I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.